Hello again, Year 6. This is us carrying on with her book. Just so you know, from last time, we've got Chopper who's devised these plans to help Henry get out of his marriage to Queen Catherine. Okay, so 30th of March 1533, plan number 1 complete. The governor has announced that Thomas Cranmer is the new Archbishop of Canterbury. An act restraining appeals to Rome, April 1533. Be it known that King Henry VIII of England decrees that 1. England is an empire. Number 2. The king is the head of the empire. Number 3. What he saith goeth. Number 4. No foreigners, especially the Pope, can tell him what to do. And number 5. No one, especially Catherine of Aragon, is allowed to appeal for justice to the Pope, even in religious cases, and definitely not in the case of her divorce. Signed by us, Henry Rex, in the 24th year of our reign. And plan number 2 complete. So Yeeson, back to our newspaper. Yeeson, More out, Cromwell in. The Lord Chancellor, Sir Thomas More, resigned today. He said, "I wish to spend more time with my family." The real reason for Sir Thomas's resignation is thought to be in protest at the King's break with the Church of Rome, and the active appeal that will make King Henry head honcho of the Church in England. Political fixer and hard man Thomas Cromwell is the obvious candidate to replace More. Sources close to the King say he is not pleased with his ex-Chancellor's criticism. Yeeson says, "Keep your head, Sir Thomas, if you can." 23rd of May 1533. The governor is dead pleased with himself. His divorce has finally come through, and that's the end of it for poor old Kath. 24 years married to the governor, and now she's told she was never legally his wife. She's not queen anymore, though she's allowed to call herself Dowager Princess of Wales. Big deal. And that sulky little sourpuss Mary is now Lady Mary, not Princess. I can't help feeling sorry for Catherine. We've never seen eye to eye, but she was a good missus to the governor, except she didn't give him any sons. 1st of June 1533. Well, we had Queen Anne's coronation yesterday. The governor did his best to put on a good do, but it was an absolute shambles. People didn't like Catherine much when she was queen, but it turns out they like Anne Boleyn a lot less. No one cheered for her as she was driven to the Abbey, even though Will Somers did his best to get the crowd going. This could mean trouble. So, newspaper report again, Yeeson. Right royal marriage mix-up. Pope Clement III said today that King Henry's marriage to Catherine of Aragon is legal, and his marriage to Anne Boleyn is illegal. He's also ordered that Henry should start to live with Catherine again. If he doesn't, then he will be excommunicated. King Henry was not available for comment, but a close source, Chopper again, says he is hopping mad and will ignore this ruling. Yeeson supports His Majesty and says, "Go home, Rome." 7th of September 1533. I could hear the governor coming half a mile away. He came bursting into the armoury, chucking shields and pikes around, kicking armour. I just got a bottle out and waited for him to calm down. "Another girl then, is it?" I said. That set him off again. I can understand why. He'd gone to a lot of trouble to get a male heir, and his new queen has let him down, just like the old one did. That's how it looks to the governor anyway. If I was Queen Anne Boleyn, I'd be worried sick. He got rid of one wife already. It was difficult for him to get rid of Catherine because she had powerful connections, but Anne hasn't a friend in the world. Even her own family can't stand her. She'd better produce a son for Henry soon, or the governor will decide she's got to go. He'll look for some way quicker than divorce too. 18th of October 1533. Met the royal nursemaid out walking the new princess. They've decided to call her Elizabeth. I must say, she doesn't look as ugly as her half-sister Mary, but that's not saying much. Yeeson, Hal hits back. Yesterday, Parliament passed the Act of Succession, which states that the crown of England will pass to the children of King Henry and Queen Anne. Anyone saying anything against the marriage of Henry and Anne, or against their children, who will be the lawful heirs will from today be guilty of treason. The penalty will be death, and all goods and lands forfeited. All the king's subjects will also have to swear an oath that they shall truly, firmly, constantly, without fraud or guile, observe, fulfil, maintain, defend and keep the whole effect and contents of this act. Anyone swearing the oath of loyalty will be charged with treason. Yi Son says, that'll show the moaning minis, your majesty. 20th of April 1534. Had to go to Tyburn today to do a job. A mass hanging and beheading. Elizabeth Barton, alias the Nun of Kent, a couple of monks and 3 priests have been saying some nasty things about the governor's marriage. For instance, they said the governor would die within a month if he married Anne Boleyn. Well, he hasn't, has he? Too bad for them. People said that the nun went into trances and rolled around on the ground groaning, seeing visions of angels. Well, now it's just her head rolling around on the ground and she'll be seeing angels for real. 25th of April 1534. Talk about busy. The Tower's full of people who don't want to take the oath of loyalty. Even Sir Thomas More is in here. I had a chat with him today. He's a nice bloke with a sense of humour. I said I was sorry that it wasn't very comfortable in the Tower, so he said he wasn't complaining and I should throw him out if he did. He wears a hair shirt and occasionally whips himself to show how religious he is. When he was in power, he used to send us loads of Protestant heretics for burning. I told him he had nothing to worry about, as he was a mate of the governor's. He still didn't look very happy. 3rd of July 1534. The king's been off hunting deer, so there's not much going on around the Tower, apart from Will Summers annoying me. What do you call a deer with no eyes? He asked. No idea, I said. Correct. No idea. I just stared at him. And what do you call a deer with no eyes and no legs? I shook my head. Still no idea, I said. Correct. You must have heard it before. I hate his jokes. Christmas 1534. The governor nipped in today to wish me a happy Christmas. He said just between him and me, he was getting a bit fed up with his new wife. There was no sign of her giving him a son. He was thinking of getting rid of her. I might even send her to you, Chopper, he said. We had a laugh about it, but I wonder. 20th of January 1535. I haven't been paid for a couple of weeks, so I mentioned it to the governor when he came in. He said he was sorry, but he was a bit short of dosh with all the palaces to keep, the wars he'd had, his clothes and armour, etc. He said he didn't know what to do. I had a bit of a brainwave. Why not close down the monasteries? I asked. The governor wanted to know why that would help, so I made him a list of reasons. Number 1, the church is rolling in money. Number 2, all the monks and nuns still think that the Bishop of Rome, formerly the Pope, should be head of our English church. Number 3, they're a lazy bunch of loafers who have never done an honest day's work in their lives. All they do is kneel around all day, wearing holes in their habits. Number 4, they're not supposed to have girlfriends or wives, but I heard lots of stories about monks being caught with women. And number 5, once the monasteries are closed, the king can take all the lands and property that used to belong to them. The governor liked the last bit all right. He said Cromwell could become Vicar General and could then organise an inspection of all the monasteries to find out loads of bad things about them. He could then close them down. It was the sort of job Cromwell would love. I bet he would, I thought. I'm not keen to do creepy Cromwell any favours, but at least I might get paid on time. The 4th of June, 1535. Frying tonight. The governor sent us 14 Protestant heretics to burn. You'd think the governor would be on the Prot side after all. He's always arguing with the Catholic Church. But on the other hand, I suppose that's just business. He still wants to let the Prots know that. Although he's the head of the English Church, he's still a Catholic. Religion is a complicated game. 19th of June 1535. Chopping time again. Ex-Bishop Fisher has been found guilty of high treason for not recognising the governor as the supreme head of the church. Also had 3 Carthusian monks today, hung, drawn and quartered. Will Somers said they deserved it as they'd got into bad habits. 22nd of June 1535. I had to go up to Tower Hill to sort out ex-Bishop Fisher. He was dressed in his best clobber and put on a good show. He made a pretty speech about dying to preserve the honour of God. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Then he slipped me a few groats to ensure it was a clean stroke. I would have done my best to give him a quick send-off anyway, but I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth. I went to have a few beers at the inn afterwards. Killing 76-year-olds isn't fun. A lot of people are blaming Queen Anne. She's getting very unpopular. 1st of July 1535. Poor old Sir Thomas More has been found guilty of high treason at Westminster for not taking the oath. I don't fancy chopping Sir Thomas. I like the bloke. Still, I dare say the governor will give him a pardon. 7th of July 1535. Had to take off Sir Thomas More's head yesterday at Tower Hill. For the first time since I've taken the job, I couldn't bring myself to chop him. He saw me hesitating and said, "Pluck up thy spirits, man, and be not afraid. My neck is very short." Well, it was, and soon after that, it was even shorter. The governor was with the Queen when I went to report. She'd never liked Sir Thomas, and she clapped her hands in glee and joked, "So it's Sir Thomas no more." I saw the look the governor gave her. Even Will Somers didn't laugh. Well, Mistress Anne, I thought, you may like executions now, but you might not be so keen on them before long. 20th of November 1535. I've been whiling away the long winter evenings by getting my little black book of the governor's girlfriends up to date. I have to keep it dead secret, because if the governor ever finds out about it, I'm dead. And I'm going to leave that top secret part of his diary until next time. Okay, I'll catch up with you soon, Year 6.